Hello, everybody. My name is Kenton DeYoung, and I'm sitting here with my co-host, Dylan Fairman.
Hey!
And this is Unsolved Canadian Mysteries. So, Dylan, how you been?
I've been swell. How have you been, Kenton?
I've been good. We're just getting off of a long weekend. It was nice to kick back, relax, and do nothing.
Drink, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Some of us did that, yeah.
Yeah.
Last week, we covered the Wendigo.
The Wendigo.
Really spooky one.
Yeah, it was good.
This one, we're reviewing true crime today.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's dope.
Do a couple true crimes, go back to the spooky stuff after that, you know. Oh, this one's a little bit spooky too.
Very spooky.
But it's not like golems coming to life and killing people. It's not like that. This all has like non-paranormal answers to what happened that day.
I see.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see.
Well, we'll talk about
We'll see, because that's what it was supposed to be that time too, right?
Yes. Yeah, and then I had an idea.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not a good one, not a bad one. It was just an idea.
It was an idea.
An idea. Okay.
Should we mention to the people that of the future Patreon opportunities they'll be able to obtain?
Did you want to tell them about it? I don't know as good as you do.
Soon, there will be an opportunity to receive an extra episode every month. Get in that face. We will be actually putting up a Patreon. It'll be relatively cheap. But if you feel like supporting the podcast and you want to get an extra episode, feel free to jump on the Patreon. There'll be lots of other things on there as well that will be announced later on. But just look out for that.
Look out for it. Check it out when it comes out. I'll support the podcast.
Maybe a shirt will be on there.
Yes?
I don't know yet.
We'll find out.
Okay, but I actually don't want to put these words in my mouth before
Okay.
I get the shirts.
Okay.
It'll be a shirt with Kenton going, oh, yeah, thumbs up higher. There you go. Perfect. That will be on a shirt.
Yeah, okay, sure. All right.
If you subscribe for a year.
So today's unsolved mystery comes from the Yukon. It takes place in 1992, which is the year I was born.
Wow.
Yep.
Wait, does this have anything to do with a frozen Frenchman?
Oh, what was his name?
Yvonne of the Yukon.
Yvonne's Yukon. No, nothing to do with Yvonne. It's definitely, he's probably up there. I think that's about the time he got defrozen.
Probably. Yeah, I looked about 92, yeah.
Yep, that sounds right. So, are you ready for tonight's true crime?
Yes.
Okay. We'll start the story off, give some background, who the characters are, and then we'll talk about what happened, then we'll talk about the theories of what happened afterwards, okay? First character we're going to talk about is Ronald Bax. In 1983, Ronald Bax moved to the Yukon. He was 22 years old. He was a skilled sculptor. He began sculpting in bronze, horn, bone, and mammoth ivory. I don't know if that's legal, but he did it anyway. He ran Northern Sculptures from his home in Carcross with his wife, Lynn. So Carcross is just south of Whitehorse,
okay,
which is just south of Dawson City. So we're talking more like southern Yukon, not like the northern empty Yukon. Still pretty empty, though. Before we talk more about what happened with Ronald, we'll talk about Lynn and her friend, Krystal Senyk. So Krystal and Lynn met in 1985 at Brock University in St. Catharines, Ontario. Lynn had moved to Ontario for schooling and returned to the Yukon in 1986 when she met Ronald. In 1988, 2 years later, Krystal then moved to the Yukon too. So all three of them live in the Yukon at this point, okay? Ronald is married to Lynn, and Lynn's best friend is Krystal. All right? In 1992, however, the marriage between Lynn and Ronald was starting to fall apart. Ronald had become abusive, and Lynn had moved to a transition house and filed for a divorce.
This is always how this starts. I swear.
Yeah.
This is like the starter pack for all these. Like that one lady who shot what's his face in the head.
Oh, Mary Smith when she killed her husband. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, anyway.
Don't abuse people.
Don't abuse people.
Shot.
You get shot. Oh, spoiler.
Maybe. So the marriage was falling apart, and Lennon moved out of the house to a true transition house. Thankfully, she had her friend Krystal, and Krystal was always there protecting her. So some people thought that maybe Lynn and Krystal had more than just a friendship, more just like a platonic friendship, but everyone close to them said no, Krystal was straight. She loved men, and their relationship was simply platonic.
Plutonic.
But many people still think that Krystal was the reason for the marriage problems between Lynn and Ronald. So Krystal was a big, strong woman. She competed nationally and internationally in arm wrestling competitions.
Whoa.
She participated in the Rendezvous flower packing contest, where people carry flour on their back. She carried 750 pounds of flour on her back, and she ended up winning the contest. So she's not a little lady. Krystal is a big, strong woman. Okay?
That's dope.
Not someone you want to mess with, but we'll see what happens. March 1st, 1992, Krystal is visiting Lynn at the transition house. At that time, both Krystal and Lynn had got a threatening letter from Ronald saying that the hunt was on. The transition house staff encouraged Krystal to stay the night, but she was determined to go home. She asked the RCMP to escort her home, but the RCMP said they didn't provide that service anymore. But further investigation says that the police might have offered the service, but because Krystal would have been in danger had she gone home, and their purpose is to protect and serve, to protecting her would be to keeping her at the transition house, not to take her home. So that's why they declined. Okay. But she said, I'm going home anyway, and she left by herself. She arrived home on the night of March 1st, 1992. And I'm not sure if Ronald was waiting for her at the house or if he came to the house after. I'm not sure exactly the events that occurred there. But either way, later that night, Ronald was at the house with a high caliber rifle.
Wait, high caliber rifle. Do you know the caliber?
No. And I don't know rifles good enough to know the difference between a low caliber and a high caliber.
Well, low caliber is 22. That's like the little bullet. That's what they use to shoot varmints.
Okay.
High caliber. I don't know exactly what would be classified as a high caliber, but like, you know, those bullets I showed you?
Yeah.
That's a higher caliber. Like,
okay.
That's a 45-70.
Okay. I think it's a hunting rifle.
Okay, then it's probably like a 30-30 Winchester or something like that.
Okay. You know your guns.
Not really. I've just played enough video games to know.
Okay, I don't play those games.
I play them.
Okay. All right. So they talked for some time, Krystal and Ronald, and in the early hours of March 2nd, Ronald shot her in the chest and killed her.
Wow.
He then leaves the house. Okay. Pretty straightforward. Ronald shot Krystal in the chest and left.
That's gnarly.
Police were notified the next day when Krystal didn't show up for work. They arrived at her house at 11 a.m. and called the emergency response team at 12:30. It's been about 12 hours since Ronald shot her that the police are finally looking into this. She lived alone. No one knew she was shot, right?
Okay, so she's for sure dead.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
She's like super dead.
Yeah. So around 6 p.m., the police stormed Ronald's house. They found that both of his cars were still parked in the driveway, as well as his wallet was still on the table, his ID, and his outdoor gear, as well as what could be regarded as a suicide note. We'll talk more about the suicide note later. The contents of the suicide note are still confidential. However, he listed several names on it, and police were protecting 16 people involved in the dispute.
Okay.
Many feared there would be another victim. So they thought maybe the suicide note, well, of course we don't know it, we can't see it, might say like, I'm going to go after these people, or these people are also wronged me, or something along that sort. But again, the suicide note is still under police. They have it. They won't give it to anyone to look at.
Typical.
Yeah. That night, helicopters, planes, and 25 police officers began searching for him. No dogs. I thought that was weird because, like, you'd think if you're in the Yukon and you're looking for someone, dogs, especially because you have all of his scent, right?
Yeah.
Right? I don't know. No dogs.
Maybe there's just something we don't know.
It could also be because Yukon is a very little amount of people, which means very little amount of police.
Oh, maybe they don't even have a dog unit.
It could be. In 92, maybe they didn't have a dog unit.
Yeah, that's probably true, actually. That's probably more likely.
Yeah. I wondered about that, but I'm sure there's a reason. Or it just was absent in the notes that I got. But I'm going to say they probably didn't have a dog.
Yeah, I'm sure some unit has dogs just for, like, finding missing people. Mm-hmm. But maybe they don't have it at disposal for, like, that.
Yeah. All right, so they began searching for him, and he was never found. So there are 3 theories to what happened to him.
I know one of them.
Oh, okay. What do you think it is?
Bears.
Well, I thought we could incorporate it. I didn't include it, but, we could probably...
There's 4 theories.
Okay, now there's 4 theories.
Tell us the 4 theories.
Okay. So, the first theory is that Ronald committed suicide. Okay. Some of the evidence supports that this, because 6 weeks before the murder, Ronald killed his dog, Kato. Or maybe Kato. I don't know. It's really hard to ask what dog.
I feel like Kato, because that's a popular TV show character.
Right.
So.
And I would name a dog Kato.
Exactly. It sounds too much like cat.
Right.
That's insult.
Yes. Okay. Kato it is. He told his friend he didn't feel a thing when he killed Kato, and that he couldn't stand seeing the dog on a chain. Yep. Someone had the dog chained up in the backyard or something like that.
Yep.
A few weeks after that, Ronald had gone through a major mood swing. At one point, even put a gun to his own head, I think talking about killing himself. His friend intervened and tried to get the gun away, but couldn't do it, but ended up preventing the suicide from occurring. Mm-hmm. At the time of Krystal's murder, he was broke. His sculpting company wasn't making enough money. He's getting a divorce. And he had nothing to live for, right? So that's kind of the idea. But his friend Gary says he doesn't believe Ronald killed himself. He might have been going through a rough patch, but he wasn't that kind of guy. The police statement, they believe there was not any credible leads that Ronald was assisted by anybody. It's believed that Ronald hiked to a remote area and committed suicide, but without a body, they still have to have it as an open investigation. So the idea is that he killed Krystal, went home, wrote a note, and then went out into the woods, into the tundra, I guess it would be, and killed himself somewhere remote.
Okay.
The next theory is that Ronald is hiding somewhere in the Yukon. Okay.
Possible.
So Ronald has survival skills, and he could have done this originally. He might have gone onto the Yukon, hid there, and it's been 31 years now since then, right? So I don't know if he's still hiding out there now. The police reports state that he's taken some gear with him before he disappeared.
Sorry, how old is he? Was he?
Oh,
do you know?
He was 22 when he moved up north.
Okay.
And I think it was 10 years, so that puts him at 32.
Okay.
It's been 31 years now, so he'd be 63 years old. So I mean, he could still be alive up there, but
old prospector.
Yeah. I mean, could be. Ronald had survival skills. He could have gone up there originally. The police reports that he'd taken some gear with him before he disappeared, but they didn't say what he took because they don't know. He knew the area very well because he had some experience being a big game guide. I don't know what kind of big game is up there. Moose. Caribou. I guess so. Maybe deer?
Deer's, well, yeah, there'd be deer, but it's not really like big compared to like a moose or a caribou.
That's fair. Okay.
Or elk.
So after the murder of Ronald and Ronald's disappearance, 3 police officers showed up at his friend Gary's door. Gary's name was one of the names mentioned on the list. He told police to go talk to Nick Cannell. Cannell was Ronald's best friend at the time. For a brief time, Nick was considered an accomplice to the murder. The police were looking for a truck similar to his, a 1975 Dodge 4x4. However, once they talked to Nick, interviewed him, they cleared him as he had nothing to do with the crime. So they put an all bulletin across Canada and into Alaska to find Ronald for his capture, but didn't have a 12-hour head start. Nothing came up. But due to the size and the remoteness of the Yukon, he could have built a cabin somewhere out there and lived alone. The Yukon is like the size of Spain, to put into perspective for people who don't know. It only has like 43,000 people. That's today's numbers. Even then it was like 27,000. So not a lot of people, but a whole lot of space. So it could have been done and no one would know about it.
Right.
Like sometimes up north there's like earthquakes and they don't know about it because there's no one up there to feel it, right? So like it's a very remote area, right? So, and most people, I think 50%, 70%, something like that, they live in Whitehorse.
Oh, so half of the population's in one place.
Yeah. So he could have gone out one other direction, could have gone to the national park or something we talked about a couple episodes ago.
Yeah.
Gone up there and no one would know.
Couple episodes ago.
It was like last season.
Yeah. That was number 2. I find your flippant use of a couple disturbing.
A couple is like between 10 and 12. The next theory, number 3, is that Ronald just moved away. All right. So with no body and no one seeing him since the murder, this is probably the most likely thing. He got out of town and disappeared. At least in my opinion, it's the most likely one. Ronald had some family in Michigan, and his brother had visited Ronald a week before the murder. So the timeline goes, first he killed Cato, then almost took his own life, then his brother visited him, and then he killed Krystal. Yet his family in Michigan and Ontario have denied having any contact with him since the murder. Mm-hmm. Others think he moved down to New Mexico as he had some connections with them because he has time in the sculpting industry. The best lead we've had is in 2015, a woman living in Mississippi called Crime Stoppers about Ronald. She and her husband had let a man move into their house, but wouldn't kick him out because of his connection with drugs. I don't know if he was selling drugs or doing drugs or they just didn't want to kick him out, but he matched a lot of the things with Ronald. He was said to have a northern accent, which never heard that before. I guess that's what we have.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, hey.
Holy
All right, so he had a northern accent, and his ID on him said Ronald Jeffrey Bax on it. He also talked about being a taxidermist and a sculptor. Oh. So, like, that's pretty convincing stuff, right?
There.
Right? Yeah, okay, like, you got the name of the killer on you, you're talking like him, you're talking what he talks about. Okay, sure, right? But, unfortunately, the man's name is on his other IDs said Barry Spencer Clark. He was taken into custody and he was fingerprinted, and they compared his fingerprints with Ronald from 1983. And I wondered, how did they have Ronald's fingerprints from 1983? And I guess he was involved in like a robbery when he was still in Ontario.
Oh.
Or he was a suspect in it or something, so they fingerprinted him there. So they compared the fingerprints and they were not a match. And I guess number 4 said he was killed by bears.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
So we got 4 ideas here.
One is that he went to the forest, killed himself. One is he went to the forest and still lives there, or went to tundra and lives there. One is that he moved away and could be this man named Barry Clark. And one is bears.
Bears.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Now, before we kind of talk about which theory we want to dig into more, so this research was done by a man named Miles Dolphin. And he's putting together a book. And that book was supposed to come out in 2021, but it's delayed because of COVID. But now it's coming out on May 23rd, 2023, in a couple months from now. It's called I Got a Name, The Murder of Krystal Senyk. So if you like this story and you want to learn more, get the book. Maybe we'll get the book too, and we'll recover this when we have more book information. But the book's coming out if you want to know more about the story beyond just what we've told you tonight. What of the, which one do you want to talk about? Which of the
Bears.
theories? Okay. So you think he went to the woods or tundra or whatever, and the bears just got him?
I think did the murder,
Okay, sure.
ran away with his high caliber rifle.
Yeah, okay, sure.
Even if you shoot a bear with a high caliber rifle, that bear's probably still gonna kill you.
Okay, yeah. Probably more so than before you
Yes.
shot it, yeah.
Yes, because that's why hunters who hunt, probably in the Yukon, don't quote me on that. It might be more Alberta, but that's why they carry like side pistol magnums with 6 huge bullets just as big as that, like I showed you, that 45-70 bullet, but in a pistol, so they can shoot it 6 times, because this one bullet's probably not going to kill it, and that's why you don't use your rifle. Anyway, probably was trying to escape, didn't go right, bear was there, wrong time, right time for the bear, and it was a tussle. He probably hit the bear once, but then it went straight Bear Town.
You know, there's actually some weight to that, because when he tried to kill himself earlier, he had like a pistol. Obviously, he wouldn't put a rifle against his head. That's kind of, I mean, you could, but it's tougher to do.
Right.
So if he did, and they never mentioned they found his firearms at the house, right? Like the weapon he killed him with, that wasn't one of the things they said they found. So he probably took it with him, the rifle and maybe a pistol or something with rounds for a bear. Good point. If he's a survivalist and he's been out there, he probably knows this stuff too.
But he could also be panicked because he just shot someone in the chest.
Yeah, and I'm trying to think about the timeline. Did he, because if you're going to go to someone's house with a gun, you're going to go there with a purpose, right? Generally. Did he write the note first and then go to the house? Or did he go to the house first and then go home, write the note, and then take off?
Yeah, that's true. You probably write the note before, unless you're nuts. But here's the thing too. This is why I don't think he had a pistol on him, because what would you rather use if you're going to shoot someone
You're right.
in a house? You're not going to use a rifle if
You're
you
right.
have a pistol. So.
You're right. That's a good point.
So most likely he didn't have a pistol, and he only had a rifle, and he got mauled by a bear. That's my theory.
All right. I have another theory I'm thinking about, like kind of a combination of a couple of them.
Okay, can I guess what your theory is?
Yes.
Okay. What did he do? What's his passion, his hobby?
Sculpting?
Yes.
Oh, okay. All right. Where are you going with this?
Do we know if he's Jewish?
I don't know if he's
We
Jewish.
don't know if he's Jewish. Could he possibly be a rabbi?
Yeah, if he's Jewish, maybe. Yeah, okay.
Okay, maybe he made a golem, and the golem killed him.
Okay.
Sorry, anyway, that's not your theory. Go on.
No. But it's interesting twist. Give it to you. All right, so my idea here is, first he kills Kato, the dog. Then he considers taking his own life. Then his brother comes up and visits him. Then he kills Krystal. I'm thinking, when his brother came to visit him, he kind of told him what was going on. And his brother said, okay, let's get you out of here. He said, I want to kill my wife. And they kind of agreed they're going to do it. So he said, okay, but if we do this, you can't have any contact with the family. So maybe he said something like, give me a week to get you some fake documents, some fake ID, and then we can do it. So I'm thinking, what if, because this is before 9/11, right? So this is before passports were a big thing.
Right.
You could have used the fake driver's license or whatever on an airplane. What if his brother got the stuff together for him, said, okay, go kill Krystal, and then come to Whitehorse or whatever, rural airport, get in a plane, start a new life down in Mississippi or whatever.
Right.
So when they find this guy in Mississippi, this Barry Clark, he has the old ID from when he was Ronald Bax. And the only thing that doesn't make sense to me is the fingerprints. But I'm thinking, could fingerprinting be unmatched between like 2015 and 1983? Because there's different techniques between the two times, right? Or can you like burn off your fingerprints and get new ones? Because you have 31 years or whatever between the two of them.
It's like, maybe. Like, you always see that in movies where people are like burning off their fingerprints or putting it on a sander and sanding off their fingerprints. I don't know if that's legit. We'd have to Google that.
That's my theory. I'm still sticking with that Barry Clark is Ronald Bax, and that he got a fake ID, and his brother was part of that. Because, like, that would be a good discussion. Why were you visiting him a week before the murder? What did you guys talk about? You know?
Right.
Or maybe he brought the stuff with him to give to Ronald before he went back home. I don't know. That's my theory, is that his brother had something to do with it, and that maybe Ronald is now Barry Spencer Clark.
I see.
No golems this time.
There was golems.
Okay, yeah. So the investigator, Miles Dolphin, who kind of puts all together, he's contacted the RCMP to get information about, like, the suicide note, but they declined it because it's still an active investigation. And he also contacted the FBI to get some information about it on their side, and of course denied as well because it's an active investigation. So I'm interested to see what the book says. Maybe the book has more information in it than the website did.
Right.
But what do you think? You think it's bears?
It's either bears or he killed himself. Like,
yeah.
You know.
Okay. That was kind of what we thought about the first guy. We talked about Taylor.
Taylor Granger.
Taylor Granger, yeah. Granger Taylor. Granger Taylor.
I was just going to say, isn't that the wrong way, or which way is the right way? Because Kenton said it one way, and then we put the name the other way. Which is the correct way?
That's what we think he might have done, too, is that he just took himself out.
Oh, I just accidentally moved it to an empty room. Where are we? Oh, no. We're in an empty room. We're back.
Oh, that was scary.
Yeah.
So I think that's the end of the mystery.
Cool.
We don't really know what happens, but that's the whole point of it.
That's the whole point of mysteries. Unsolved ones, that is.
I think maybe we might have to revisit this after we get the book, get hands on the book and see.
Cool.
But I thought it was a good little true crime, you know? A little bit of twist on that. I thought maybe, you probably thought it's going to be like a whodunit, but it's actually like where to go.
Hey, I like any that is like a strong bear possibility.
Okay.
This one had a high bear probability.
Yeah, I think so too. But I don't think that's what happened. That's okay.
What had the highest bear probability? Probably the second one, right? Because I was saying a big bear bit off their heads.
Yes.
That was a big bear possibility.
Yeah, that one was big bear possibility.
Not so much the vortex.
No.
That probably had nothing to do with bears.
Not aqua bears.
I tried.
Yeah, you did. You did. Well, thank you so much, Dylan, for coming and joining me tonight and talk about Unsolved Mystery.
Yep.
And thank you everyone for listening. As always, my name is Kenton Young, and I'm sitting here with my co-host Dylan Fairman. And this has been another episode of Unsolved Canadian Mysteries.